Hi, I'm Guy Helmers, and I'll be showing you the last portion of my video series, setting up your Surface Book for illustrating. Now, the last video I did, I was setting up, how to calibrate your pen and your setup. In this one, I'll be showing you some of the low-budget accessories that I use for illustration, and just to maximize my use of this system, considering how expensive it is. Now, I was talking about Tray Touch Toggle in the last video. I realized I should have spoken about it then when I planned out my little overview of each video, but I had put it in on this one. So the whole thing about Tray Touch Toggle is that when you're drawing on your surface, when the pen is within range, any physical touch on the screen does nothing. That's fine, as you'd expect. But in my case, a lot of my strokes and stuff are very broad and large, and usually I ending up lifting the pen off the screen. And the thing is that my hand is pressed on the screen as well as I'm drawing. So you lift the pen off, and then all of a sudden, oh, what's happening here? Oh, well, it just launched to the side. Well, that's a problem that goes on with Photoshop CS6 and the touch controls on the Surface. So there's no real fix. The update that's available for CS6 is the last, the ultimate final update of support for CS6. So you need to rectify this at some point, or else you're just going to accidentally be launching off the end of your canvas whenever your stroke goes that little bit more, right? So Tray Touch Toggle, I'm not going to be showing you how to set it up here, but it's relatively easy. I'll put a link for the download in the comments section. It's just a little thing that pops up here that has a little hand, and it literally enables and disables the hardware that detects your touch. So you click on that, and now it's red. And so if I go here and I touch the screen, nothing happens. Really, really nice for when you're doing something where you really don't want to factor in touch screen ability, even when it's like your friend's standing over your shoulder and wants to point at something on a game or what have you. Well, yeah, then they touch it, and your view shoots off to the side, or you kill some units, or go to a link or run a program you weren't intending to, just because they accidentally poked your screen when they were pointing. It's all fixed in Tray Touch Toggle. It's just a little free program that a guy made for Windows 7. For his touch computer on Windows 7. So I, under no circumstances, accept any responsibility for you agreeing to use this. I've used it and it works fine. So I think it's all right. Nothing bad has happened because of it. So just use it at your own discretion, but it's pretty essential when it comes to the older versions of Photoshop. Now, what I would like to move on to is this little gem here. It is Unified Remote. It's an Android app that costs $4, but has a free version, but you can only use custom remotes in the full version. I highly recommend this. So as you can see here, I've got a Photoshop illustration remote that I made myself. I'm not necessarily actively updating it, but whenever I update it for my own purposes, I also update it, which is available on their community page. I'll put a link to that as well. But what this enables is for you to download this or to build your own set of keys for navigating Photoshop. The thing is that you'd ideally be using it where the laptop is folded backwards and in the canvas drawing sort of mode, so you don't have access to your keyboard. Well, you can get Bluetooth keyboards and this and that and all this crap, but I assume that if you have a laptop like this, you probably have a phone. So for $4, you're converting your phone into a universal remote, which works on multiple systems too, mind you. That can do pretty well anything that you can program in. So for example, I've got my pan here, so I can hold pan and then navigate around. I can switch to brush, and when I open a new thing, I draw there and fill. Oh, it's gradient fill. Oh. All these things, there's toggle, undo, move, all these various things, save as, and for the most part I use this little device system here for all of my webcomic stuff, and anytime I need to actually sit down, knuckle down, and use illustration. There's a couple changes I would like to do, but I'll get around to it eventually. Life's difficult and complicated. You can't ask me to do everything. So that's a great little system. I highly recommend both Tray Touch Toggle and this when it comes to sort of finalizing your total setup for illustration purposes. Now I have a couple other ones that are pretty nice. One of them being Droid 3. Now you rarely use this window up until you get, for example, a message from yourself. So hello, bleep, and I'll send that to myself. And if you see, I just got this on my computer. So you can click reply and you can go, "This is my computer!" Exclamation mark. And it should show up. Like, wow. Now, obviously, you'd be using this to send stuff to your friends and stuff, but that's how it works. It's really nice because sometimes your phone isn't in audible range and it pops up on your computer, and sometimes, if you're like me, you have articles or links to stuff on your computer, and you have that one friend or that one handful of friends who don't have Facebook, don't have anything, but have their phone and texting. So this enables you to copy paste something into your SMS and send it, and it works like a charm. It's convenient, it's easy, and it does that. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that you can do with it, but I just like having the ability to not necessarily have to rummage through my pockets and all that stuff when people are texting me. You just have your computer on and you get the messages and you respond accordingly. And the last one is called Input Mapper. Input Mapper is this year's PlayStation controller computer program. Last time was the DualShock 3 Utility or whatever, DS3. This one is for DualShock 4, of course. But the thing that's awesome and why I recommend it for the setup in particular is because everything that I've done in regards to my using unified remote and stuff is, one, preventing the need to buy some excess surplus of hardware and stuff, and being really highly mobile. And in this case, Input Mapper can use the DualShock with Bluetooth, and because you need Bluetooth for the end of the button here, and it's always on your laptop for the most part, it's awesome because then you can have your PS4 controller and your phone and your mouse and your machine, and you can do pretty well everything you would want. You can game keyboard mouse, you can game controller, you can use this for input, whatever it may be, you can design, you can program, you can browse, you can do pretty well everything. So those are the handful of programs that I recommend, and little systems and software. I hope that it helps you get more use out of your Surface Book. Anyways, talk to you later.